Hi guys, today we'll see like how to create a small application in which we'll be using how to insert and retrieve from the database. For that we need to have a Visual Studio. So we'll be opening our Visual Studio. Okay, this is a Visual Studio. Here to create an application what we have to do is like we have to click on File, New, Project. Okay, here we have to make sure like in recent templates we have to select Visual C Sharp to do C Sharp coding. If we want to do VB.NET coding, we have to select Visual Basic. If you want to do C++ coding, we have to select Visual C++. If you want to do F Sharp coding, we have to select F Sharp coding. Now we are going to work on C Sharp, so I'll be selecting Visual C Sharp, and here I can see the framework. So here I have multiple frameworks till 4. The latest one is 4.5.1, but in Visual Studio 2010 we have till .NET Framework 4. I'll be selecting the .NET Framework 4, and under .NET Framework 4 we have so many different application creation techniques, but I'll be using Windows Form application. Since my first form is the login form, what I'll do, I'll specify it as login. Okay, now we need to set the form name as a login. To set the form name as a login, what I have to do, I have to go to the properties and set the form name as login. After setting the properties name, so after setting the text, the form name, change it to login. For my login page, what all controls we need? We need controls like 2 label boxes and 2 text boxes and a button. 2 label boxes, 2 text boxes, and a button. Okay, I'll keep one more button to reset my form. Okay, I can resize my form from here itself. Okay, I'll give my label as username. I'll specify my label 2 as my password. Okay, when I use the password, I should take the input in the form of a non-readable character. So to make my text box as a password box, what I have to do? I have to set the password character. Here I can see my password character. I'll set the password character as star. Okay, then I'll the text box for text content for my button is like submit or login, whatever you want you can keep, and my text button to name is like reset, to reset my text boxes. Okay, let us run and see. To run your program you can press F5 or Control F5. Can you see that my window is coming at the top left corner, but I don't want my window to come somewhere here and there. I always need it to come in the I always need it to come in the center of my screen. Okay, for that what I have to do, we have to select our form, we have to select our form, then have to specify the start position. Here I have different things: center screen, window default location, default bounds, center parent. Right now we were the default value is window default location. Have to set it to center screen. Okay, now we'll run and see. It came to the center of my screen. So if I want my form to be maximized, the Windows state I have to set it for maximized. See, if I set my maximized, will be working like this one, but I don't want it to be maximized. Normal form. Okay, now my login form is created. Next, what I have to do, I have to create a registration form. To create a registration form, I need to add a new form. So I'll go here, right click, add Windows form. Okay, I'll tell my form name as a registration. Okay, in my registration form, I'll be reading name, username, password, and email ID. Okay, to read my name, username, password, and email ID. For that, I need to have, and also I'll read the gender. So name, username, password for logging into my application, gender, then email ID. Okay, to read my name, I'll put a text box. I'll use my text box. To read my username, I'll use a text box. For password, I'll use a password box. Initially, we have to take a text box and then we have to convert it into a password box. Then for gender, either I can use radio buttons or a drop down list. So now I'll show you how to use a drop down list. And for email ID, I'll be using a text box. Then to submit, I need to use a button. To reset, I need to use a button. I'll make it as submit or register. Okay, so my two forms are created. How to like redirect to this second form if I'm a new user? So for that we need to have a hyperlink. Okay, you can see your hyperlink control here, link label. So if he's a new user, he'll be registering here. How to target to the registration form? Okay, I need to create an instance for registration. So I'll make this form as hidden when I want to access the next form. Okay, we'll execute our Okay, if I click on register here, I'm getting my registration form. Since I've not used the default window position, my registration form is coming at the default bounds. So I'll make my registration form to come at the center of the screen. Okay, now my form has been created. We don't have any database to work on our form. Okay, to create a database, what we have to do is like we have to see. If I click on register here, my registration form will open. Okay, to create a database, we have to go to our server explorer, and first we need to check whether our SQL Express is running or not. My SQL Express is up and running, so I'll create a new database. To create a new database, right click on your data connections, add connections. In that we need to select the different types of database are available. We need to select whichever format we require. So I'll select SQL Server database file. Okay, I'll set the sample as my database name and I'll create. Okay, my database has been created along with the tables. So I'll add a table which can take my name is of nvarchar. Okay, name. Then what all fields we have? Username, password, username. Okay, password, gender, and email ID. Okay, I'll say my table as register. So no, we'll save it as registration. Okay, my registration table is created. How to insert data into my registration table? Okay, when I click on register, everything has to go to my database and it has to store. See, to see the data in my table, I have to right click and show table data. Then I can see the contents into it. Okay, event is created as soon as I click on register button. So when I click on register, my data has to be sent into the database. SQL connection con is equal to new SQL connection. For that I need to specify the path of my database. To how to get the path, right click on that, properties, okay. Then now I have identified the path of my database and I'll open the connection. Since my connection might throw some exceptions sometimes, that's why I have kept it in try block. After opening the connection, I need to prepare a query to insert into my database. Insert into my table name. Table name is like registration, and my values are textbox 2, textbox 3. Okay, when I've used some drop down box, I'll just drop down to see the drop down box name. Sorry, it's a combo box. Combo box 1 dot selected item. Okay. Okay, after specifying my query, I have to use SQL command to execute my query. SQL command cmd is equal to new SQL command. For that, we need to pass our parameters are query, comma, my connection string, command dot execute non-query executes query. Since there's a try, we have to use catch. Without using catch also, we can use directly finally in my C coding, but it's better to follow the normal rules. Finally, I'll close. So let's have one pop-up message box dot show data is inserted. Okay, let us execute. Okay, I want to register first. Name is Sunil. Username is Sunny Boyka, and my password is like Boyka. Okay, in gender we have not selected anything. So before going that, we'll convert our password box to a password box. So let us make it as a password box. For gender we need to add items. I'll put some items, edit items. Okay, I'll register now. Sunny Boyka, and my password is Boyka. Mail now at gmail.com is my mail ID. I'll click on register. Data got inserted. We'll check show table data. Yeah, my data got inserted. Next, what I have to do? I have to write a reset button logic. To write a reset button logic, I'll call one more function. Okay, after resetting all the text, I'll call my resetter. Okay, after here also I'll call my resetter. Okay, see, I'll register, I'll type something. Everything got resetted. Okay, so next is like I have to use this same use the username and password to login into my account. Where is my login button? Form. So I'll open one SQL connection. SQL.data SQL client I have to use. I have already an open connection here. I'll copy it till my query. Then I'll go to my page and I'll paste it here. So here I have to retrieve data. So I have to use select user name comma password from station where username is equal to my text box one dot text and password text box 2 dot text. Okay, now my query is ready. I have to execute my query. To execute my query I need to have SQL command cmd is equal to new SQL command. I'll pass my query and my connection as a parameter to it. Then when we execute select statement, it will return some data set. Okay, result set. To store that result set, we need to have SQL data reader, and I'll execute my reader. Execute reader. Okay, now while now some records are returned while dr dot read. To read the tuples I have to run in a recursive way. Since I don't know how many records are retrieved, I have to use while loop. If my I'll create one username is equal to dr dot get. I don't know in which format the data type is. I don't have to remember that. So at the time I have to use get value of 0 that returns my username string the string value of 1 dot to string. It converts everything into my string format because I've used the variable as a string. Then if my text box username is equal to the whatever content I have written in text box 1.text, and password is equal to the whatever I have written to in the text box 2.text, then I have to display message. You are a valid user. Valid. Okay. If it doesn't matches, if it doesn't matches any records, then I have to tell like you are a invalid users. Invalid user. So since I've used try, I am using catch, and finally I'm closing my database connection. Okay, now we'll execute our project. Let us see what is my username and password. Username is Sunny Boyka, password is Boyka. CUNY. Login. Okay, there must be some error, that's why it's not executing. Okay, let us check what is that error. Now we have to debug our code. Login, then incorrect syntax. It is telling like we have not formed the syntax correctly. And select username comma password from where username, password and username. Okay, there is some error with my code. It is like left. Okay, here I have used one extra parenthesis, so which was not required. I'll enter my valid username and valid password. I'll try to log in. Then it shows you are a valid user. Yes. So if I try something wrong, invalid user, this works perfectly. Okay, then we need to reset our buttons like values. We have to go and reset void resetter text box one dot reset text. Here I'll call my resetter. My access specifier is stopping it. Okay, it's a function. Last time we are running our card. I'll enter something wrong and I'll log in. It's a invalid code. Yes, and my text box automatically got resetted. And this is how you can create your small application which includes your registration form and a login form. And thank you for watching this video. Thank you.